All right, mic test, mic test. What's up? What's up? How y'all doing? I just wanted to start the stream a little bit early. I will be interviewing Destiny live. So what I'm gonna start doing, guys, is I do a bunch of interviews, right? I do a bunch of interviews, with cool people, people from the left, people from the right. So I felt like, hey, this is still gonna be like a part of like the larger video. Why the hell not? Should I not stream this? So then you guys can see it live, right? It's like a sneak peek. And yeah, it will still be like part of like a bigger video. So for this video, I'm also trying to, we're in talks with Brett Cooper right now, because it's a video on the growing political gender gap. And yeah, so this is gonna be like the first like interview, and might as well do it with someone who is a streamer. With Destiny unsubscribed. Okay, that's fine. This channel isn't to just talk to people that you completely agree with. If that's the case, then yeah, you should subscribe or unsubscribe. That's not what this channel is about. So totally understand if you don't want to join. Yeah, but he's gonna be coming on in 10 minutes. But first and foremost, I wanted to ask where you guys all tuning in from. Second of all, I'm curious if you guys have any specific questions on this topic. But yeah, we'll treat it like very like conversationally. Of course, I have like questions that I want to ask him, and I'll keep him on track. But yeah, if you guys have any specific questions that you want me to ask him too, like let me know. Tokyo, Tennessee, Britain, Virginia Beach. All right, all right, all right. Everyone, I love it. Everybody's from everywhere. Oh yeah, and also it's Veterans Day, right? So I'm guessing you guys don't have school or work. So I think this all kind of ended up working out. Love that you look at all sides. Again, I don't agree with Destiny, but I was taught the values of Voltaire. I don't share your opinion, but I'll fight for your right to express it. Exactly. Yeah. So guys, look, if you want to unsubscribe from me now because I'm talking to someone that you disagree with, you should. I don't want you. I don't need you. Right? So I do want to make that abundantly clear. If you really do like me in my mission, like I'm gonna talk to people that you don't like. But there's a big value in that. Look, after the conversation, you might hate him even more. Amazing. Great. Well, at least you got to hear him out a little bit more, right? Or maybe you might be like, okay, there might be a little bit more, or maybe he was a little bit misrepresented, right? Look, people that you like, uh, whether it be a political candidate, whether it be a media figure, there's probably been many times where you've been wrong about them, where they've been portrayed in a certain way in a mainstream narrative, and you're like, oh shit, this must be who they are, right? But that's clearly not the case. So he'll be coming on in the next 8 minutes or so. When's this interview? This is coming out in 8 minutes. 8 minutes. So he should be joining in like 8 minutes. But I just wanted to start early, just so you guys can all like join in. Yeah, throw in some questions that you guys want me to ask him too. Yeah, especially those who don't like him. All right, especially those who don't like him. This is your chance to put a question in there, and I can ask it for you. I can't stand Destiny. I'm willing to watch again. That's also fine too. I'm subscribing because of an interview that hasn't even started to something else. Oh yeah, you'd be surprised, man. We're asking what he does he think is going to happen now that Trump is in office. Yes, definitely. That's already definitely already a question I'll be asking. Opinion on Osmongold? I don't really know him. All I just know is that he's like a pretty big streamer and just does not clean his room and kind of lives like a bum. But that's all I know about him. Who'll be the Democratic nominee in 2028? I don't think anyone knows. I am an editor. Check page after. In real life, how was visiting Laredo with the river making a border? How was it? Were you scared that something would happen? Yeah, no, I wasn't scared. I wasn't scared because I was with like law enforcement. I was on the US side. Of course, it would have been very sketch if I crossed over and I was just on my own to Nuevo Laredo. But no, the fact that I was around like law enforcement, I was not scared at all. Did he bet on the election? I heard he told XQC to bet on it. Yeah, I guess I could ask him that. What are your thoughts on bread tubers? What the hell is that? Wait, what? Okay, yeah, I think I've heard around that because I did a bit of research like before, prepping for this interview. What were they saying? Like, was there like a feud recently between Destiny and Osmongold? Again, are you gonna start grappling? Yeah, honestly, jujitsu was really fun, man. I got choked the fuck out. It was extremely humbling, but it was a lot of fun, man. Greetings from Belarus. Okay, cool, man. Oh, okay. We got a lot of European viewers in here. I'm actually curious. Type of one in the chat if you guys even know who Destiny is. I feel like he's quite big across all political spectrums. At least like people like know him. He's become a pretty big voice. Yeah, double one in the chat if you guys know who he is. And also, guys, yeah, do you guys? I mean, you guys can see how this will go. But I'm curious if you guys want me to do more stuff like this. Like, I just feel like it just makes sense. Type of WRL if you guys like this. Like, because again, right, this is still gonna be a part of the longer YouTube video. But I don't know. I just thought it would be a good idea. It's like I'm already gonna do the fucking interview. Might as well like live stream it. It's like double the content. And also, I could just crowdsource. What you guys want me to ask him? I think that's going to be like the direction that podcasts are also going to go into, to be honest, is like, look, people are already willing to kind of just like sit down and listen to a 2-3 hour conversation. Obviously, streaming has become bigger and bigger exponentially. But I think this is going to be like the next evolution of podcasts. So instead of doing like some like dedicated podcast, I much rather do something like this where I'm still in front of like the same setup. Maybe I might even have some guests come to me, right? And we'll still be in this exact same setup doing stuff like that. So L/W. Destiny is a less offensive leftist. Be careful giving him too much credit. I used to follow him until he went on the rant about the Trump shooter. Yeah, I think that turned a lot of people off, man. And to be honest, like for good reason. Like I thought that was a wild thing that he said. And I'll definitely ask him about that. Please do, but it would be nice to see with people around the world, not just the US. Yeah, of course. Of course. I'll be happy to do so. What about the Brazilian favelas? I'm Brazilian, but I'm from Sao Paulo, and we have favelas. But how was it when you were there inside with dangerous people? And was it different than Loreto? Yeah, it was a little bit different because in the Brazilian favelas, yes, I was around like the military police and a bunch of them, but you could tell how like tense it was. Like they were drawing like they were like weapons like ready to go at like all times. It's clearly unpredictable. It's a lot of like bumpiness, a lot of like winding roads, a lot of like alleyways. So like literally anything could happen at any time. So yeah, it was a little bit different because like I think there was like an element of unpredictability, and also I'm not from the country, so I don't really know what to expect. How do you bug these ride-alongs you do for the videos on the border? You reach out to them, brother. You reach out to them. And of course, it's not just as simple as that, right? We have to build trust, man. We have to be like strategic with it because like they're not gonna just say yes to like anyone, right? It obviously helps having an audience. The bigger you grow, the easier it gets to unlock a lot of these production challenges. Because it's like social proof, right? It's like, look, there's a reason why I have 100K subscribers, right? So people are gonna see that, and that always helps. But yeah, we're also very strategic with it too, because oftentimes, like a lot of these departments too, they don't they don't know the power of YouTube yet, right? They don't really know like the power of like new media. I think that will continue to change. But some media departments might just view YouTubers as like Logan Paul or like the pranksters, right? And clearly, I like to think I don't do shit like that. You know what I mean? W collab. Yeah, guys. So yeah, he should be joining in soon. I think in the next like 2 minutes or so. I lost respect for Destiny. Can't take the man seriously after knowing he let other men bang his wife. I mean, look, I don't care what you do in your personal life, man. As long as like you're not doing some crazy shit like killing people or I don't know, doing some wild like hurting people. I don't care. I could care less. What was your favorite video experience on this channel again? Um Honestly, a very underrated favorite video of mine is like the male loneliness video that I made right now. Didn't really do like tremendously well. I think it has like 90K views or something, but that was probably like one of my favorite videos in recent memory. Just because there's a lot of like meaning behind it, and I also kind of like shared like the addictions that I've struggled with and continue to struggle with. Agents love you again. Appreciate that, man. Appreciate that. Call him Steven to his face, bro. Damn, you guys are not a fan of like Destiny. Jesus. Like, is it only because like he disagrees with you or like what's the reason why? I'm curious. What time is the interview? It's in 2 minutes. Chill out. You should be hopping off soon, actually. He has no morals. No, he's completely biased. He has a unique moral compass. I told you your audience is right wing. No, it's true. I mean, you're not wrong in the sense that like the majority of my audience is gonna lean a little bit more right. I have yeah. There's no doubt about that. But I like to think that. I mean, look, maybe we'll see after this. What's up, Steven? Or sorry, Destiny. What's up, man? Can you hear me?
Hey, how's it going? How's it going? Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Nice to finally meet you, man.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think the what I wanted to talk about is kind of like the growing political gender gap that's been going on. Uh, I'm sure you were not really happy about the election results, but I think one thing that was very interesting was the kind of demographic that voted for which party in which way. I think we could start with why do you think young men are becoming more conservative?
What were the actual breakdowns by the end of everything for what I guess the demographics were?
Yeah, so I think the biggest interesting trend, in my opinion, is how young people in general tend to be more liberal, right? Whether it be men or women, but especially men. This election has tended a little bit more towards the right in terms of voting for Trump. I don't know the exact like percentages, but
Hmm.
that's the polls that I've seen.
Gotcha. I mean, if without seeing the specific numbers, I mean, if I had to guess, I think it's probably because I mean, the right has done a really good job at targeting young men for content, at least from what I see online, and the left has kind of done a poor job at targeting young men, and it's probably pushed a lot of, especially young white men, away.
Hmm. But what's like your audience like? I mean, you're kind of like a voice for like the left, right? Like in that instance, like what
Yeah,
have you
I mean,
seen in
my
terms of
audience
your
is
targets?
definitely predominantly probably young white men, I would imagine. Yeah.
I see. So why do you think like for example, you're a pretty big voice for at least for like the left. Why haven't they, it seems like you have a decent amount of like influence. Why hasn't that kind of like translated in terms of like polling? Or why do you feel like so many other like young men are trending towards different voices? Like who are those other voices and what have you seen?
Yeah, I think people make the mistake of treating young men basically. This isn't even really necessarily to do with men, but I think in the left, when there are power structures, they're very quick to attack the entire group that they view as being at the top of that power structure, and then it makes every single person involved in that group feel like it's not a party for them, you know? So whether they're attacking white people or attacking America or attacking men, you just kind of get this, or wealthy people or whatever. I think too much of the left is focused on like chastising or punishing or criticizing rather than saying like, like, hey, this is a majority power group. Like, here's how other people can, kind of like rise up too, instead of just like relentlessly attacking them.
Hmm. Do you feel like the rise of Andrew Tate, for example, like especially a few years back in the election, shows that like young men are craving a voice like that?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. I mean, like I said, the left said for a long time, we're not going to talk to this group of people. So the right kind of made their own figures to go and talk to them. Yeah.
You're very different in that sense, though. Like you're very willing to challenge like other people's voices. Like, do you feel like the left doesn't do a good job of that? Why do you feel like they shy away from talking to people that they disagree with?
I think for a long time, I think the left was kind of like winning the culture war. So there was this kind of built in assumption that everything they were saying was right and correct. And so they didn't have to defend any of their ideas or they didn't have to actually deal with anybody that was challenging them. So they just didn't. And then they got into the habit of that.
So I saw like your recent like interview with Piers Morgan, and I think just in general, right, men tend to care more about economic issues. And I think you made the claim that the left has righted the ship in metrics like inflation, unemployment compared to other countries. But if that's the case, why didn't young men vote for the right or vote for the left in this election?
I think people kind of care about economic issues. People care about what they think about the economic issues. And for a long time, the right has basically been allowed to operate, with impunity in terms of just lying and telling people how they feel about certain things. And there definitely was big, like huge inflation rates in the beginning parts of the Biden administration. And cumulatively, a lot of that inflation is still felt. But then when you add on to that all of the basically fake news that the right is allowed to sell on all of their platforms over and over again, and nobody really calls them out on it, then people are going to have a worse view of how things are going than they actually are.
What's like the lies? What are like the fake news? Like what are the specific examples?
Jesus, I mean, almost like literally almost everything. I mean, if you get into the specifics, if I argue with somebody, for instance, if I say like, oh, where did inflation come from? No, literally no conservative will acknowledge that COVID was even a thing in terms of being a huge influencing factor for inflation. A lot of people have dumb ideas around like macroeconomics. They'll say like, oh, like the Federal Reserve is why inflation happens, and we need to get rid of the Federal Reserve, ignoring the fact that Donald Trump, enjoyed low interest rates under his administration and will continue to push for low interest rates when he's coming in. They'll say things like tariffs will help control inflation, even though tariffs are an added tax across our entire import market. It will increase inflation. They'll say things like, I mean, you had all the obvious fake news stories about the hurricane weather machines, that FEMA was going to steal homes, that cats and dogs are being eaten by Haitians. I mean, I don't know where it's everything. Conservatives lie about basically everything when it comes to the media landscape today. We can go into more specifically any area you want to, or yeah.
Yeah. So I guess like how has like the left done things differently than like the right? Like how can like the left, for example, take ownership or credit for the economic issues like improving, right? Because I think this is important to outline because you're right. Because for example, right, a lot of young men I think tend to view the right as being able to right the ship better when it comes to economic policies. So there must be some reason for that. Because if that isn't true, then I kind of want to hear that.
Yeah, I mean, it's a totally fantastical delusion. It's just not true. Democrats have always had to come in and right the ship from failing conservative administrations. Obama had to do it. Obama had to come in after the 2007-2008 housing collapse. Everybody remembers this. It was a worldwide economic meltdown. Obama came in, righted the ship. The economy was doing pretty good his second term and continued to do good. And then Trump comes in, and all of a sudden everybody's like, "Oh my God, amazing economy under Trump." It was amazing for the last 4 years of Obama and continued on through Trump. And Trump only had to be more amazing by doing even more deficit spending. He cut taxes. He didn't pair it with spending cuts. He spent money like crazy. And then at the end of Trump's administration, you had COVID, which left the entire world economy again in shambles. And then Biden comes in. We've got the American Rescue Plan. The United States is outperforming every other economy in the world. And nobody cares. And now Trump is going to come in again, and it's probably going to be Trump taking credit for, oh my God, look at all this infrastructure we're building. Yeah, because Biden passed the infrastructure bill. Oh my God, we finally got, manufacturing back from China for microprocessors. Yeah, because Biden passed the CHIPS Act. Oh my God, like look at how the stock market is doing and everything. Yeah, it's posting all-time highs right now. Yes, it's been doing this. So basically, sometimes there could be like a little bit of a lapse between economic policy when you see the effects of it. But I mean, if you just think back, like the last 3 decades, it's basically been a destroyed economy under the Republicans. Donald Trump himself has said this, by the way, before he ran for office. I think it was in the early 2000s, I think he said this, but basically, Republicans will leave like this economy in ruins. Democrats have to come in and right the ship. There's still like all the fallout you're dealing with, so people are unhappy and they vote in a Republican again after the Democrat term, and it's just frustrating to deal with.
But I guess like how much like credit can administrations even take for like the economy, right? Like how much impact do they like specifically even have? Especially when you consider, Congress tends to have more of a say, as well as the Federal Reserve. How much like credit can administrations even take?
I mean, it depends on the particular thing. So like I'll give Biden credit for like cheerleading Congress on to passing certain legislation, right? So like Biden had a hand in pushing Congress towards the infrastructure bill or the Inflation Reduction Act or the CHIPS Act. Like these are things that Biden was personally involved in. These are things that were passed under Democrat Congress. These were things that things that Trump wanted that he couldn't get passed under a Republican Congress. So, I mean, I'll give him credit for that. I mean, there are some things that it's always going to be bad. Like at the end of COVID, even if Trump did mess it up, the COVID was always going to be rough, no matter who was in office. Coming in the next term, inflation was always going to be rough, no matter who was in office. Like you can only control so much, but in terms of what they are able to control, I don't know what Trump has done that anybody would think is so great for the economy. They can never point to anything in particular other than tax cuts, which was just deficit spending.
I'm curious, what don't you like about Trump, like especially?
What don't I like about Trump?
Yeah.
I mean, the biggest issue is I think he's a massive character flaw. I think that he operates in a very un-American, unpatriotic manner. I don't think he has any respect for the institutions of the country or the Constitution or the rule of law or the peaceful transfer of power. These are like fundamental core American ideas that I have problems with. In terms of leadership, he's just an ineffective leader. He wasn't able to do anything on the border. He wasn't able to do anything in Congress. He wasn't able to do anything internationally, despite the fact that he tries to take credit for it. Like he was a failure in every sense of the way in every single part of his administration. People will say things, and as soon as you push them on it, like everything falls apart. So I don't know. I just think I think he's a bad leader and a bad person and a bad American.
Do you think he's a fascist? I think that's also kind of a narrative that's being spun around at the moment.
I would say so for sure, but it's not worth arguing because people's brains break as soon as they hear it.
Well, let's hear it. Look, I'm not trying to defend him or anything. I just want to hear your points.
Yeah, I think that some of the, I mean, there's a lot of different ways to define fascism. But basically, I mean, he has kind of like these super ultra nationalist tendencies, meaning this idea that America can be an autarky, that we can tear off the rest of the world, we can manufacture everything at home, that we should curb immigration, that we should curb, involvement in foreign affairs. That's kind of sad, considering that America was like the leader of the free world. We guaranteed, trade routes and everything to the rest of the world and traded with the rest of the world. That's kind of sad. And then I think that he's definitely autocratic and that he wants to centralize as much power in the presidency, not even just the executive branch, but in the presidency as much as possible. We've gotten really disappointing new rules set in the United States, like that the president of the United States can never be convicted for a criminal charge. As long as he's like acting in a certain role in the president, like these new categories of absolutely criminally immune behavior that have never been defined before, I think is really sad. His incessant like bullying of every single person that doesn't agree with everything that he wants, like trying to get them bullied out of the party, making sure that everybody falls in line and supports his agenda 100%. Him trying to weaponize the Department of Justice by telling them to, send out fake letters to states saying that we found evidence of voter fraud, like stuff like this is all like autocratic behavior. I think it's really bad.
Do you think like your dislike for him is also kind of clouding that a little bit, or do you feel like that's based on facts?
Every single thing I say is based on facts. I've read more than any other conservative on the planet about any of these things. There's a reason why I've demolished every single person that has tried to confront me on any of these issues. They either don't know the facts or they willingly lie about them. But yeah, I mean, we can dump into literally any single part of this. Leading up to the January 6th stuff, for instance, Donald Trump tried to tell his Department of Justice that he wanted them to send out fake letters to all the states saying that they found evidence of voter fraud. And even William Barr, who is a huge Trump fan, didn't want to do that. He gave an interview to the Associated Press basically saying that there was no evidence of voter fraud. And then he quits 2 weeks later on December 14th, just a few weeks before the next administration, which is pretty crazy. New people come in. Donald Trump tries to get them to also send out fake letters. And basically the only way that the DOJ is able to stop him is by telling him, Richard Donahue, I think, who was the deputy attorney, the acting deputy attorney general at the time, basically says, hey, like, if you want to do this and send out these letters or force us to do it, half your Department of Justice is going to quit on you. You're going to have a graveyard here for the last week or two in your administration. There is no equivalent on the liberal side of the weaponization of the DOJ in this manner at all, ever. It's just not even remotely close. Donald Trump has pardoned almost every single crony friend he's had that have covered for him in court, whether it's Steve Bannon or Roger Stone, who were literally obstructing congressional investigations into Donald Trump and then saying that they wouldn't squeal on him and then getting full pardons when they were charged with obstruction and contempt. So I mean, like, we got a million things, but it's not even close to, yeah. I think Trump derangement syndrome is real, and I think it happens on the conservative side where they'll make, they basically make excuses for every single behavior that Trump engages in.
Fair enough. But aren't there also a lot of like Republican opposition against Trump too, though? It's probably not fair to just generalize that all Republicans support him, right?
Nope, there is no opposition to Trump. If you oppose Trump, you get destroyed. You can't. I mean, like, there's like Romney, maybe he's like the only one, but you basically have to fall in line. It's one of the biggest strengths that the Republicans have over the Democrats is that the Democrats can show displeasure in leadership or displeasure in party people. On the Republican side, you're either MAGA or Trump will primary you. And he says it as much in every single speech. These are the good Republicans. These are the bad ones. If you don't like us, like, you know.
Well, sorry to interrupt, but doesn't that happen also on the Democratic side, right? Like, for example, there weren't open primaries this year and Kamala was essentially nominated. Everybody had to kind of like galvanize their support. Isn't that kind of just more so the effect of the polarization of parties at the moment?
No, like, for instance, like, Biden had a really bad performance and Biden was pushed out by the party. That would never happen on the Republican side. No matter what Trump says or does, he will never be pushed out by the party because Trump will destroy those people. So I would say that's the opposite. In terms of like whether there was an open primary or not, conservatives will never admit it, obviously, because they're not honest actors and they don't care. But to do an open primary at that point would have been incredibly spicy. People act like it would be such an easy decision. Like, oh, you should just have an open primary. And it's like a couple months really before the election. Like that, it would just be so crazy and so chaotic. Like, I could see there being arguments for an open primary. I could see there being arguments against open primaries or an open primary in that particular circumstance. I could even see an argument against even getting Biden to step down. Like, I think there are still arguments for maybe he shouldn't do it. Like, yeah, it was a very, like, chaotic time, so.
Why do you think Kamala lost?
I think there's probably it's the confluence of several factors, but I think the really unfortunately boring answer is I think that probably just inflation at the beginning of the term just made everybody really ass pained and nobody was going to vote in the incumbent. Like, incumbents lost in literally every single election around the world, and the whole world is dealing with like inflation post COVID. So the idea that in the United States this would have been the one incumbent to survive that is probably unlikely. But there's a bunch of other factors that play too. I do, yeah. Considering that this was ubiquitous across every single election, there was a good Financial Times article on this, but every single incumbency lost around the world this election cycle. And I think it was probably largely because of the cumulative inflation that was felt at the beginning of the term.
But do you think if it was like a stronger candidate, that could have changed things? So, for example, right, you know, Kamala was one of the least popular vice presidents, right? And then she was essentially ushered in after Joe Biden dropped out. In that instance, do you think if she was more charismatic or at least had more of like a pull or charisma, let's say, as like Trump, I know you may disagree with that. Do you think results could have been different even if she was an incumbent?
I mean, it's possible. I mean, maybe, but probably not. I mean, like, in terms of historic unpopularity, like, everybody is unpopular now because our environment is so partisan. Like, Donald Trump was a not very popular president, even though people don't realize it. He never got over like 46% popularity because everything is so like polarized and divided right now. So is it possible that somebody else could have won? I mean, maybe, but again, it would have been a massive outlier from literally the rest of the entire world's incumbent elections.
So I think one thing that's interesting about you, Destiny, is that, you know, I respect in the sense that you're able to like disagree with people that's even in your own party, as well as also talk to people on the other side. I think one thing about you is that you also disagree with a lot of the especially far left ideas, right? Like socialism, the pro-Palestine crowd, or how trans women shouldn't be allowed in women's sports. Do you think the same way you disagree with the far left is also what's pushing a lot of young men to be conservative?
It's possible, but I think it's an interesting phenomenon where it's beliefs on the far left, but it's beliefs on the far left that are amplified by the far right. Like the far right has done a really good job at making it seem like the far left is the entirety of the party, when in reality the far left is like kids at school. Like there are no far left congressmen. Like maybe Rashid Tlaib, maybe, or Ilhan Omar, like AOC, but like barely.
Or like
that was
Bernie when he was kind of pushed out, right?
but even Bernie's not like on like trans sports and all that like all the time. Like I think that this is largely an issue that conservatives and Russia have really successfully pushed on all of our social media, and then conservatives make it seem like it's the main calling card to the left, and then that's how they make everybody appear. So it is possible that people voted more to the right as a result of the trans stuff on the left, but because the trans stuff on the left was so amplified and exaggerated by the people on the right, basically.
But then you also like mentioned earlier how essentially like the media voices haven't done like a better job like on the left, right? So isn't there kind of culpability there?
Yeah, I think they can definitely do a better job. They need to be way more aggressive. I think we have to fight way more against like the crazy conservative shit. Yeah.
But do you feel like you need to push more against the crazy like left leaning stuff? Kind of
No,
like what you're
I think
doing,
that's
right?
stupid. A conservative has never in their life felt this obsessive need to like I see everybody talking to the left like, are you guys don't you need to self-reflect? Don't you need to figure out what went wrong this election? Bullshit. What did the conservatives do after they lost their last election? Well, one, they don't even believe they lost it, and two, they literally nominated the same fucking guy, the exact same guy who ran an even worse campaign. So no, the idea that like the left has to dramatically change their approach and all that bullshit. Nah, I don't think that's true. I think the
You
dramatic
don't think
change.
there needs to be any sort of reflection after a loss, though?
What did the conservatives reflect on?
I think they did a better job in terms of utilizing independent media. I think a lot of independent media has also been welcomed more by the right too.
I do agree with that, yeah, but that goes into being more aggressive. What they've done better is the right's media sphere is a cult. Every single person on the right, every single centrist or independent or whatever media thing, all of them support the party. On the left, like a lot of our huge people on the left don't support the party. They don't support the candidate. It's very weird, right? Like it's kind of funny that I go on shows and it's like, I'm an institutional shill, because I actually get shit for like supporting the Democratic candidates in like this far left sphere. Like everybody will attack the candidate, but then you go to the far right sphere or the centrist sphere, right? And all these guys are massive Trump simps. Joe Rogan and Tim Pool and everybody at the Daily Wire and every single Stephen Crowder, all the right, the far right, the mid right, the whatever right sphere are all supporting the candidate. And on the left, there's like this huge coalescence of people that are like far lefties that hate the candidate, and that's not a good environment. Yeah, that has to change.
Isn't that more of like an individual example, right? Because for example, if you're going to take Ben Shapiro or Matt Walsh, they used to denounce Trump. But in this election, they saw him as like the better candidate. I don't think that's fair to say because it's pretty blanketed. Right?
No,
so,
it
like,
is blanketed, but
goes,
it's true.
Well, hold on. I think that goes
yeah.
back to like the earlier point. Like, what if it was a different candidate? Maybe the left just in general would have galvanized. Because do you know a lot of far left people that would have even voted for Trump? Like, did they? I don't think so either, right?
Shit. Wait, I have to let somebody up. One second.
Yeah, you're good.
Wait, hello?
Chat, also, yeah, let me know if you guys have any questions too.
Sorry. Oh, wait, did you say chat? Are you guys streaming?
Yeah, I'm streaming too, yeah.
Oh, shit. Geez, I
Are
don't
you?
know. Oh, no, I'm not. It's too
Oh, my fault. I should have let you know.
No, you're good. What did I just say? Oh, so when you talk about like Matt Walsh or you talk about Ben Shapiro, like that's a good example of people who have been bullied into supporting the party. On the left, you don't get bullied into supporting the party. Usually you get bullied into not supporting the party. A really great example of this was Joe Rogan when he gave this like very tepid, like, oh, you know, I think that RFK is kind of cool. Everybody came together to bully the fuck out of him to get him to support Trump, and he did. Or like a Kyle Rittenhouse, he was like, I don't really know how I feel about the bump stock ban. I think I'm going to support a libertarian candidate. The whole cult came together to bully the fuck out of Rittenhouse until he agreed to support Donald Trump. So, I mean, like, they do a really good job at enforcing, like, this top-down, like, you have to support the party, you have to support the candidate on the right, and we don't do that at all on the left.
I don't know. I'll push back on you on that because I feel like that still happens on the left too, right? It's like, again, like how many far left people voted for Trump in this election?
It's not about voting for Trump. It's about not supporting Biden or Harris.
But again, doesn't that go back to kind of like the charisma or how much just, you know, like emotional support you have for like Kamala versus Trump? Like one, Trump has already won before, and two, there's also a reason why there's Trump merch versus, let's say, Kamala or Joe Biden merch, right? Like, don't you think that's more of like the emotional kind of ties that people have with like the candidate?
No.
Like again,
No.
I think that
I
just
think it's
goes
because
back
they know
to-
that if they don't support the candidate, their media empires will be destroyed because they will lose all support in the they'll lose all support in the media atmosphere. I mean, you can see this directly with the Trump v. Dominion lawsuit. Like they literally are talking behind this, or I'm sorry, the Fox News versus Dominion lawsuit. They're literally talking behind the scenes about how we have to support this fake news about the Dominion shit because we're losing our viewers to OAN. We're losing our viewers to Newsmax. We have to play these stories. We have to bring on Sidney Powell. We have to let our viewers like see this stuff because if not, they're going to go somewhere else.
I guess my point
yeah.
is like that happens on the left too, though.
Who are
I
the
don't think it's an
mainstream
exclusively
left-leaning
right
figures
thing.
who are pushing everybody to support
So for
Harris?
example, right, like if we're gonna use the example of Joe Rogan, right, they recently had like that controversy where they kind of edited out his podcast clip to make it seem like he's supporting Kamala. Like that was a blatant lie. Or for example, during the whole COVID thing, when they, you know, color graded him to make him look more sick, called ivermectin like a horse dewormer. Like what I'm trying to say is that both sides engaged in this. I don't think it's an exclusively right issue. That
Wait,
people-
hold on. You're talking about totally different things now. I'm saying that on the right, if you're going to be in right media, you have to support the candidate. Full stop. Or your empire is destroyed. Your media company is destroyed. On the left, that's not the case. There are plenty
Is
of
that
popular.
true? Well, that's
Wait, think of it right now. Like, give me a single right-leaning media entity that doesn't fully support Donald Trump.
I mean, look, I can't just like name someone off the top of my
Okay,
head, but what
but
I'm
we can
trying to
probably
say
think of
is, like,
several people on the left, right? Hassan Piker is the largest streamer on Twitch, didn't really support the candidate. People from Bernie's administration, like Brianna Joy Gray, didn't really support the candidate. Crystal Ball from Breaking Points didn't really support the candidate. The Majority Report, both sides, do genocide, not huge support for the candidate. Like, there's tons of like far left media and a lot of this far left media apparatus that doesn't support the candidate, right? It's not the same on the left and the right at all.
But do you think that has happened like every single election year over year? I think that's where I keep going back to my point of, do you think it's more so the candidate, right?
How is it that people who had this massive hatred for Donald Trump all of a sudden now are sycophantically supporting him? What is that besides a cult? Do you think that their opinions about
No,
his
I think there's
character and
also
morality just
context, too.
changed? Or
I think there's also a lot of context too, where they weren't happy with the last 4 years. And, if the alternative is either stay in that status quo or change back to someone that more aligns with their values, that's probably what happened. I think it's a little bit overly simplistic to just call it like a cult, because I think if that's the case, then it happens both sides.
I mean, you can say that, but you have no argument, right? Like, if I can show you articles that Matt Walsh and Ben Shapiro have written saying they will never vote for Donald Trump because of like how horrible his character and everything is, like his character didn't change in 4 years. Nothing changed about him in 8 years. Like, the only thing that happened was they realized, this happened with Glenn Beck as well, it happened on The Blaze, is that people were like, hey, I don't really know how I feel about Donald Trump. And every single person on the right was like, oh, well, I'm not going to watch your media. Like, that is what happened, factually. Like, that's the right. You can say, well, maybe every single person on the right just happened to all change their minds simultaneously and all agree that Donald Trump is actually a good candidate. They all, wanted to take back what they said before, but I find that incredibly unconvincing. I think it's far more likely that they just realize that on the right, you have to support the candidate or you have no future in media.
So let's say, for example, you wanted to vote for Trump. Would you like reveal that yourself?
If I wanted to vote for Trump, yeah, of course. What do you mean? There'd be such a huge audience for it. Yeah.
But wouldn't that kind of be out of jeopardy of the current audience that you have, which I'm going to guess is majority Kamala voters?
My audience is, I have a very unique audience because I'm actually a political independent and not a super like party allegiant person like every other online political commentator is, for a variety of reasons. But I mean, for me personally, obviously it would be a big divergence from my current politics because I actually like this country and I do believe in the values of this country. So supporting Trump would be wildly outside of the scope of what I do right now.
So I can get behind that. Oh, sorry, go on.
But yeah, no, I mean, there is nothing on the left that remotely approaches the cultish obsession that the right has with Donald Trump. Again, you can't think of a single media entity on the right that doesn't support Donald Trump, can you? Like a single one.
No, yeah, I mean, like Fox News, for example, is definitely for Trump. Yeah, and a lot of like independent media voices, definitely.
All of them, not a lot of them, every single one that says
But
that
do you
they're
think
like.
there's also a lot of different factors too? Like, for example, the fact that RFK, endorsed him. There's also people like even Tulsi Gabbard, who was formerly a Democrat, who then became
Tulsi Gabbard has
Republican,
never been a strong Democrat. That lady is crazy. Same
Sure,
thing with
but you
RFK.
can use that as an example, right? Is like there's also a lot of support that happened in this particular election where they then saw that as a better alternative than what happened in the last 4 years. So I
So
think I
there's
think it is
so
a
like
little
the
bit
fact
different
that
in this context.
I mean, you can say that it's different, but you're just saying that to say that. Like you have nothing has changed substantively between Trump term 1 and term 2. Like literally
You don't
nothing.
think so? I mean, just how he's presented himself in the media is also quite different too. There's also a lot of different historical contexts, like the Trump assassination as well. Like I'm sure that brought a lot of support as well. Even
Why would
Mark
that bring
Zuckerberg,
support? But like think about one of it. Like why would Trump getting shot at? Why would that change support for him at all?
I think they saw that as a pretty unique moment in U.S. history, and they also saw the strength of his character by being able to stand up and still keep going. I mean, look, I'm
Why?
just
Hold on, just to be clear, I just want to be
hold
ultra
on.
clear. If that changed your opinion about him,
on.
then you never had strong political beliefs in the first place. Seeing a guy get shot at, like, changes.
I'm not talking about myself.
No, yeah, I'm saying in the general you, but I'm saying like, if somebody's like, if somebody's like, I would never support Trump as a candidate, and then I saw him get shot at, but now I super support him. What a stupid way to come to.
There's also even like an example like Mark Zuckerberg, right? Who would have ever thought that in 2024, Mark Zuckerberg would have even said that was one of the most badass moments of American history. So what I'm trying to say is that I think a lot of public sentiment towards Trump has also changed too, where it's also become a lot more socially acceptable to outwardly support Trump versus 2016. So I think there's a lot of different contexts that has changed. And I think that's also a reason why a lot of moderates have voted for Trump this term than let's say 2016 too. Or even 2020 when he lost.
Okay, I mean, like I said, you can say that, but you have nothing. Like he got shot at,
I'm giving
and
you evidence here.
You haven't given me a thing. What has changed? What has changed so much from Trump in 2016 to 2024 that would make somebody that was completely against him in 2016 now support him? It can't be that he got shot at. It has to be something more.
Well, Destin, it's even points that you brought up earlier, right? In the sense that like a lot of people voted for Trump over Kamala because of inflation. So there's also even economic factors that people have considered and put at the top of their mind that has also changed how they voted for this year. So yes, it's probably, look, maybe I'm not giving you direct evidence, but you can't ignore the fact that there are different factors in 2016, 2020, as well as 2024.
Sure, and I'm not saying that there aren't necessarily different factors. I'm just saying that the original claim that we're talking about has to do with whether or not you have to support a candidate, basically. On the left, I've given you several large media entities that don't support the candidate. On the right, every single person, even centrists or whatever, all support the candidate. And to just say, well, I think that every single person has a really good reason for why all of them have to support the candidate, even when I've given you examples of people who didn't support the candidate and then got relentlessly bullied until they did, like Joe Rogan and like Kyle Rittenhouse, but you write all of it off. So I mean, like, I don't think there's any way or anything I can demonstrate. Like, nothing is more clear than the Rittenhouse example of like what happens if you try not to support Trump. You'll be destroyed by or the Fox News Dominion lawsuit. There's nothing more clear than that.
I agree with you in the sense that Kyle Rittenhouse was effectively bullied into like supporting Trump. But do you think that's the case for Joe Rogan?
Yes.
How so?
I think Joe Rogan came out and he was like, I really like this RFK dude. I'm not sure. Like, maybe I would support him. He said it was a pretty tepid, lukewarm statement. And he got so much pushback from his audience who are all like Trump sycophants. Even other people in the mainstream media on the right were like, hey, I don't know if it's so good that you guys are all attacking Rogan like this. And then Rogan came out and basically made a statement saying, oh, no, guys, don't worry. I'm not saying I endorse RFK for president, guys. Don't worry. Like, he had to come back and eat his words because he was getting so much over the top response about it. Like, it was insane.
Yeah, and then there's also, what happened with MSNBC, right? When they edited him out to make it seem like he's supporting Kamala. So he's probably also overly sensitive to things getting misrepresented. Just
none of that has any bearing on what I just said. I'm saying that on the right, you have to support Trump. I'm not talking about MSNBC or CNN editing or anything. I'm saying that on the right, none of that made him support Trump.
What I'm trying to do is provide context in the sense that there's probably that thought process too. That's why it's probably overly simplistic to just say that he just got bullied into it when, media has misrepresented what he said multiple times.
Okay. You're just wrong. I mean, I really don't know what to say. Like, this stuff like drives me so crazy that the right can get away with so much insane behavior, and then people always make excuses for it. Well, the reason why Joe Rogan had to come out and 100% deep throw Donald Trump was because MSNBC edited a clip of him one time. Like, I don't know. I'm a man. I've never changed my political opinions because somebody says something mean about me like that. But then people make excuses for Joe Rogan to do this. That's so crazy to me, right? I've had people lie about me on the left and the right. I've never thought like, wow, that guy said something mean about me. I'm going to go and support a totally different candidate. Like, grow up. Like, what the fuck? That's just crazy to me that you would be so willing and easily ready to offer up that excuse for Joe Rogan. Like, maybe he had to be a 100% Trump sycophant because MSNBC posted a clip of him being too orange one time. That's crazy to me. That just doesn't make any sense in my mind. But
well, I guess not everybody's destiny, right?
Yeah, clearly, yeah.
Let's keep moving on. Let's see here. Why do you hate centrists? I've heard you multiple times say that centrists are spineless. I like to describe myself as centrist. And honestly, Destiny, you're probably more one too. You even said that you're independent. You like to look at things from both sides and look at facts. Doesn't that make you a bit of a centrist as well?
A little bit, but I actually am. Most people that are centrists are just Trump sycophants, but they're too afraid or ashamed to admit it, or they want all of the virtue and aesthetic of being a nonpartisan before they come out and like super partisanly support Trump. It happens every single time. As soon as somebody says they're a
You're the
centrist,
only person in the world who can be a centrist, or
in the online world, give me one.
me?
Actually, I can think. Well, I don't know. I'd have to go through your political views, but give me like one other media guy who's like a centrist. Who, like when I was on Piers Morgan and Dave Smith was like, yeah, I think I'm gonna have to support Trump. Wow, go figure. When Tim Pool was like, yeah, I think I'm gonna have to support Trump. Wow, go figure. Every single one of these centrist dudes, all of them came out and supported Trump. Isn't that crazy? You'd think if they were centrist, wouldn't it be like 50-50 or at least like 30-70 instead of every single one coming out to support Donald Trump? Like, yeah.
Okay. Well, if you want to apply that logic, then that doesn't that not make you centrist because you voted for Kamala?
I think
Because
that
you picked a
I think
side?
that being a centrist, even the term centrist is dumb, but the idea of having an independent mind that comes to individual decisions around certain political ideas or applied concepts is what makes you centrist. So, for instance, I like guns. I think the Democrats are stupid when they go after guns all the time. I think the obsession with assault rifles is fucking stupid. But I also support things like I support a welfare state. I think it's good to like pay money to people at the bottom of society so the people at the top of society can survive and thrive. I think it's really good. I have different beliefs that could put me on the left or the right depending upon what you're looking at. I think that trans people are real. I think that making medication available to even minors who are trans, I think could be valuable for people that, if you can figure out who's actually trans and want to transition earlier, I think that's fine. But I also think that like men are men and women are women. And I think there are real biological differences between the two. You can't just like lump them all together and say they're the same. I think that's really dumb. I have a variety of opinions that could put me on the left or the right depending upon which like constellation of beliefs you're picking from, but most people that call themselves centrists are just 100% aligned with this anti-establishment Trump dick suck mentality, and that's it. They'll go like, "Oh, I'm a centrist." Really? What do you mean by centrist? Well, I support a lot of people on the left, like Tulsi Gabbard and RFK, and it's like, "Oh, okay, that's interesting." It's like, well, and also I'm like a big supporter of people of like Andrew Tate and left people like Jimmy Dore and right people, and it's like it's just okay. So what you really mean when you say you're centrist is that you hate the establishment, you're anti-establishment, and you support every single person who's anti-establishment. That's what you really mean to say. That's not a centrist or a moderate or whatever. It's just a person who's anti-establishment, and their beliefs all 100% align with everyone else who's like that.
What you just laid out is, I think, a lot of people, right?
Yeah, I know that's the problem. They're not centrists.
No.
They're anti-establishment.
No. What I'm saying is what you just laid out as your definition of a centrist is actually a lot of people, based on like a lot of people that I've talked to, what I like to consider myself as. I may have stances that might lean more left. There might be lean more right. It also just depends on the historical context too, right? In that instance, like you mentioned, what is like a media figure today who's quite a centrist, and I know you've talked to him as well. What would you consider Lex Friedman as?
The thing
Or
is
Joe
that
Rogan. I know.
yeah,
I know
but both
what
of
you're
these
gonna say
guys
about Joe
are
Rogan.
hard conservative supporting. If one side is clearly in the wrong and the other side is not even close to as in the wrong, and you try to both sides them, you're granting more favor to the side that's clearly in the wrong, right? So, for instance, there is no recent candidate that has weaponized the DOJ like Donald Trump has tried. And if you try to make excuses for it and say, well, doesn't everybody do this? You're conservative. You're leaning conservative because you're granting them so much more leeway than you would on the left. But people don't understand this, so yeah.
But that's also not fair though, like, because Destiny, you're applying your definition of a centrist and then you're not applying it to the other people that we mentioned. Like, that's also kind of just overly simplifying it just for the other people. Because I agree with your assessment of a centrist. Like, that's what I feel like I fall under. But don't you think you're kind of just making a blanketed statement and not applying your definition of a centrist to those media figures?
If one guy says that he thinks that the Earth is, if one guy says that he thinks the Earth is round, and the other guy says he thinks the Earth is flat, and another guy comes up, he's like, you know what? I think both these guys make great points. What do you think about that guy? Is he like a moderate? Would you call him like a centrist? Is that?
Well, I mean, that's also not really like a political issue. That's like quite complex. It's quite, denounceable and proven wrong by with science. I know you're just using it as an example, but
So you would say no, that guy's not a centrist. He's granting way more favor to the flat earther, right? If you were to go between a flat earther and a guy who believes that the Earth is an oblate spheroid or whatever it is, right? And you would say, well, I think both these guys make great points. You would say, okay, well, hold on. It would be really dumb to take a center position between these two people, right?
yeah, in my personal opinion, yeah.
Okay, that's how I feel about a lot of the stuff related to the media environment and Trump's behavior, because Trump is clearly, like outstandingly in the wrong in so many ways, but people are willing to grant him so many excuses and then say that, well, it happens on the left and the right. So it's like, okay, you're not a centrist, you're a conservative. If you're going to make that many excuses for Trump and then hold the left to such an insane standard, then yeah, that's not centrism. That's just closet conservative.
So then I want to understand then, how do you feel like you apply that differently? I just want to make sure like I can get to like the core of why you believe you're more of a centrist than like, let's say, the other figures.
Well, sure. So, like, for instance, like Donald Trump's weaponization of the Department of Justice is uniquely evil and uniquely Donald Trump's. Nobody on the left has done anything even remotely comparable to that in decades that I can think of, maybe in a century. But people will make excuses for both and go like, oh, both sides do it. And then that's it. It's like, okay, well, factually, you're just wrong. In my mind, like being a quote unquote centrist just means that you are, like, I guess you don't necessarily always align with one political party and you kind of like pick and choose your beliefs, but you're not like granting special partisanship to one side. But the vast majority of centrists are insanely partisan and they grant so much favor to Trump that it's impossible to call them a centrist. You're just a conservative.
So I think it keeps going back to like Trump. Do you feel like that's where like a lot of the kind of bias on why you don't view them as centrist comes from? Like, let's just take Trump out of the equation. Do you feel like you would then grant, like, for example, Joe Rogan or Lex Fridman a centrist? Like Lex Fridman, for example, moderated, I know, a few debates with you. Joe Rogan self-proclaimed he is a liberal, right? He believes in universal health care. He believes in certain things that might lean a little bit more left. Does just supporting Trump in this particular election now make him a closeted Republican?
I mean, yeah, when you support the Republican candidate for president, that kind of makes you a Republican conservative. Yeah, if you remove
then
the
in that
candidate,
instance, does that make you just a hardcore Democrat then? Just applying
no,
your own
because
logic?
I support the Democratic Party because of positions that I have that tend to align with them, rather than like picking the person and then that's the person that I. But like also when I'm talking about like my political opinions and everything too, like I identify as like a center left, like far left person, depending on who I'm talking to. I don't sit here and say like, oh, like I could vote for either side. Like I don't lie about it like all these other guys do. Oh, I could go either way, either side. Like there's probably almost nothing that you could convince me to vote for somebody that I consider to be a traitor to the United States to put him back in the White House. There's probably nothing you could do to convince me for that, unless Kamala does something worse, I guess.
Wait,
but
so
I'm not
you
going to sit
said-
here and lie about it. Yeah.
So you said that you vote more so because you align with like the party's ideals. Is that what you said?
Right
Instead
now,
of, like,
yes, the
candidate?
Democratic Party represents my ideals better than. But like, let's say like Nikki Haley or somebody would have made it in the Republican Party, and Kamala goes even further left. Like, there might be a world where I would consider voting for Haley, or where I would
So
vote
don't
for
you
Haley.
think then other people can then apply that logic too? Because I'm sure, for example, Joe Rogan has voted Democrat in previous elections.
There is
in that
nothing that
instance-
Donald Trump could have done to have lost the vote of 90% of the people that voted for him. It's impossible. He can't do it. It's a cult.
Sorry, I meant Joe Rogan. Like Joe Rogan has
There's
probably
nothing
voted-
that Donald Trump could have done for Joe Rogan not to vote for him. It's almost
But
inconceivable.
how can you
there's
say
anything
that
I've
with
done.
such blind confidence?
Because Donald Trump is a disgusting, abhorrent figure who's done almost every horrible thing that you could do that has violated even Joe's past principles. And nobody's even, like, the support for him has been unwavering. Watching Donald Trump be interviewed by Joe Rogan was one of the most pathetic things I've ever seen in my entire life. Joe Rogan spent the first 40 minutes trying to get Donald Trump to answer the question of what's it like ruling in office on day one. And Trump is too senile to even answer the question. Maybe he didn't even understand the question. And Joe Rogan still gives him a free pass. There's nothing that Trump could have done that Joe Rogan would have I don't think that Joe Rogan would have like turned his back on him. And Rogan
Sure,
knows he would have
and-
lost a huge chunk of his audience as well. I mean, I can't prove that counterfactual, but I
Right.
mean,
I
Jesus,
mean-
what else can he do?
Yeah, I mean, again, right? If you're gonna ask about facts, earlier on in this conversation, I think you gotta base it a little bit more on facts for something like that. Because also,
Hold on,
I
wait,
think-
to be clear, I brought up facts on what part do you need me to bring facts up? You haven't brought up any facts for anything. I brought up facts on every single thing.
Have,
Well,
I,
like,
not been, have
part-
I not been bringing up facts? I've been trying to bring in a lot more historical context. To
No,
make
hold
sure
on. You
that-
keep saying historical context. There is no historical context. Donald Trump was president in 2016. We're like 8 years ago. There's no historical context. What are we talking about? What are some facts?
When I was talking about historical context, you have to consider that 2016 is a lot different than 2024. So there's a reason why certain people will vote a certain way because of those factors, like you talked about.
Yes, but
earlier.
Donald
this
Trump-
year, the election, like a lot of people decided to vote instead of Kamala because of the inflation point, right? That really wasn't the case. Let's say in 2016.
I
or
agree, but in
2020.
2016, Donald Trump hasn't improved on anything except for his like authoritarianism. That, like, if, for instance, let's say that you're motivated by inflation, okay? Why would you vote for a guy that deficit spent when he was running a hot economy? It doesn't make any sense. Why would you vote for a guy who talks about wanting to lower interest rates? That's more inflation. Why would you vote for a guy who wants to do tariffs? That's more inflation. Like every single thing that Donald Trump does, tax cuts without spending cuts, that's more inflation. Every single thing he does points towards more inflation. Why would you vote for him for inflation? It doesn't make any sense. So there's no, you can't just say historical context. What historical context would make Trump a good president in 2024?
I don't know. We have to see. He hasn't even been inaugurated yet, right?
Yeah, but if you're going to vote for him, like, what is the historical context of the past 8 years that's making you think, well, maybe Trump could be a good president because I have more information now than I had in 2016?
Yeah, I think a lot of people wanted to vote for him because they just weren't happy with the previous administration too, right? I think a lot of people, you talked about inflation, they perceive Donald Trump to be able to handle that better, as well as the border. I think those were two very hot topics that turn a lot of people. I mean, I think you can even see, especially with the fact that a lot of Latinos this election, especially Latino male voters, voted for Trump. Right? There's got to be specific reasons for that.
Okay, and I think a lot of it has to do with the cultish media environment that the right has, that they can lie with impunity, they don't get called out for it, and then they basically sell like this false image to everybody that people start to believe in. I think it's a big part of it.
Right? Like
they haven't. No, they haven't.
The Fox Dominion case is
no one cares about it. The Fox Dominion case should have been the end of Fox News and every single person involved in that. But most people don't even care about it.
I agree with you.
I don't care if you agree with me. The reality is Tucker Carlson is still one of those popular figures in media. Fox News is still thriving, and every single host.
Because he also has a right? Because he's an independent voice now. Like,
no one is talking about having a right. I'm just saying that should have been the end of his credibility. That nobody lied on the left as much as Tucker Carlson and the rest of Fox News did, but these people will still hold like Fauci and that entire administration to some different standard because they didn't like one thing he said. Like it's insane. It's an insane media environment. Like they have no accountability on the right. Yeah.
Let me ask you this then, because I think you made a couple of controversial statements during the Trump assassination attempt. Do you feel like you still stand by your statement that you have no sympathy for the bystander firefighter that was killed?
Yeah.
Why's that?
Well, because you're going to like an insane rally from a dude who is like championing violence against the United States. Like, yeah, if violence or whatever happens, then I mean, fuck it. I mean, shit happens.
You feel like it was justified that he was killed then?
No, I don't think you should ever kill people for political reasons in the United States. I don't think that's good. But I'm not gonna feel bad for you if you end up getting killed at some crazy fucking rally where you're cheering on some authoritarian lunatic. That's
Don't
fucking
you think
wild.
someone can also make then the argument that then you should be canceled for having sort of statements like that?
Okay, they can try and cancel me then, I guess. I already
So
get
that's
like
what I'm
50
saying,
million
is that,
death threats.
That's why Tucker Carlson has like an audience too, right? Is that
Wait, hold on, wait. This has nothing to do. What I'm saying is Tucker Carlson had no credibility because he blatantly and knowingly lied to his audience in order to get a politician elected. That has nothing to do with what we're talking about right now.
Fair enough. So I guess you still stand by that statement then?
Yeah.
Okay. So I think there's been a lot of talk that I think I recently saw a clip that someone on the left said that they need like a liberal Joe Rogan. Do you feel like you can fill that shoe, or is that something that you want to do?
I don't know. I'll continue to grow, get more popular. We'll see how it goes. But I like Joe Rogan as like a figure is like everything that's wrong with media. It's a person that can lie with impunity, that has no responsibility for his platform, that pretends to be a centrist while sycophantically supporting one side. Like I don't necessarily want that on the left. Like I don't want to duplicate that. I wish that less people would be interested in that type of media. But I do think the left needs to calm the fuck down a lot when it comes to doing media on the left, like not be so fucking soy and not like hand wring over everything and woke scold everybody. Like I think that's really cringe. But yeah.
Got you. Let's see here. Why do you feel like a lot more young women are becoming more liberal?
I don't know. I'm not sure. Like I said, I don't see the numbers, but I mean, I imagine that like the young, I think that like men sell a version of masculinity to themselves, or rather like these kind of like fake masculine guys sell a version of masculinity to men that like any actual man can see is like cringe and lacking in self-esteem, and probably a lot of women can see through it too. Like the people like the Tates and the Trumps and all these like losers sell you this really big false bravado. Like there's never been a single time in the history of all of dating where a girl has like looked across the table and seen that this guy has like 15 Andrew Tate videos saved, and she's like, oh, finally a real man for me. Like it just has never happened ever. So yeah, but I mean, like again, a lot of that is the left's fault because they were unwilling to sell, like healthy versions of masculinity to young men. So they let these people on the right, like the rapists and sex traffickers and shit, like Trump and Andrew Tate, basically sell them some dumb version of masculinity. So it is what it is.
Why don't you think there's any figure like that on the left then? There seems to be a big hole for that.
Because the left was too busy like woke scolding every majority class. So if you were a man, you're an evil rapist. If you're white, you're a colonizer. Just like cringe shit like that the left needed to ditch a long time ago. They started to get rid of it, but yeah.
Do you feel like Joe Rogan's a healthy example of masculinity?
He's a lot better than, I think he's a lot better than Trump or Tate at the very least. I don't know if I hear him talk too much on masculinity, but I don't think I've heard Rogan say things where I'm like, ugh, that's like how stupid in terms of like masculinity at least.
Describe a healthy definition of masculinity?
Unironically, it'd probably just be going back to a lot of fucking like coming of age movies and shit in like the 80s, 90s, early 2000s. I mean, like it's about learning how to, like be a man for others. Like how do you be in service to your community? How do you take care of your friends and family? How do you operate with honor and integrity when it's difficult to do so? Like I mean, like these classical masculine traits. How do you be a strong, independent person that can take care of the people around you in a chaotic world, basically. It seems like the Tates and the Trumps and everybody are more concerned with like how do you have the flashiest watch and how do you fuck the most women, basically, and that's their version of masculinity, and it's a very cringe.
I agree with you on that. So just to kind of like round this out, do you agree with Hassan's clip? I think this is actually kind of where I got this video idea from, where he talks about how the right wing has a total dominance over the young male demo. What have you seen with your audience, and how do you hope to change it?
Just the things I was saying before, that like you have to be able to have fun on the left, and it's too much. It feels like every time you go to some like left-wing area, especially if you're a white guy, you've got to grab a whip and self-flagellate basically and punish yourself for being a horrible majority class person, and it's just like no fun. It's just super fucking lame, dude. Like who wants to go and hang out? Even ContraPoints was saying that like like hang out with a bunch of left-leaning people it's a fucking chore, dude. Fuck that. It's not fun. These people are fuck it.
Do you have friends from both sides of the spectrum, like in your personal life?
A little bit, if they're secret Trump supporters. But if I find out, I cut them out. No more of these people, okay? I don't want to have to make hard decisions in the upcoming civil war, so I'm just trying to have only friends on the left now.
So, Destiny, I got to say, though, like, you care about facts. Like, I can see that. But don't you feel like sometimes your bias is overcrowding that? Like, is there any world where if Trump saves the world or whatever, where you have actually ever give him credit, or if Joe Rogan does a phenomenal interview or whatever?
I give credit to all sorts of people. Yeah, I can give credit to people. Again, the problem is the true enemies are people like you. Okay. Unironically, though, like you're
What?
no, but because you're so obsessed with trying to both sides everything, and it's like it's an impossible world to live in. Because then people like you look at me like, aren't you kind of biased, Destiny? No, I don't think I am biased compared to the party that doesn't even acknowledge the results of the 2020, 2024, or 2016 election. Donald Trump still thinks all three elections were rigged. And you're asking me if I'm the biased one, right? Like in 2016, he said that 3 million illegal immigrants voted with no evidence. Put together a commission to find it, couldn't find it, disbanded the commission. In 2020, he says that the election was rigged. They launched 60 plus court cases to try to prove that, lost basically every single one. In 2024, Donald Trump was still saying that there was like evidence of rigging at the Philadelphia place in Detroit. They were bringing no evidence was ever good presented for any of this. None of it was proven, right? And then he was like, well, don't you think you're being a little bit biased? And said, no, the right is full of fucking liars right now and crazy people. So I don't think that I'm biased by calling that out. When the right does something good, then I say, okay, yeah, this is good. I give him credit for this. When the left does something bad, I would criticize him for that. Nobody on the right will criticize Donald Trump substantively for anything. That's why you can't even give me a single example. I can rattle off 5 or 10 criticisms of Kamala Harris off the top of my head for things that I don't like. You will never find the same criticisms for people on the right. Like it just doesn't happen. I challenge you to do any of it. Other than like they'll give these like very like, well, I don't like that Donald Trump is kind of mean sometimes. Like they'll give some shit like that, but they won't disagree with them on any policy. Like,
Well, thank you for saying that I'm part of the problem, but I do think this is exactly why it's important to talk to both sides, though, right? And I think that you do it a lot of times, though.
Yeah, and I regret a lot of it. This is not valuable. The talking to both sides is not valuable because then it gives the air of illusion that both sides are somehow coming to some middle ground agreement. There is no coming to a middle ground or agreement with people on the right who think that the last election was still stolen. These people are retarded. There are some people on the left, but they're 1%. Right. On the right, they're 99%. That's the difference. The difference is when people say, yes, yeah, the fact is, 99%? Show me. Do you want to compare how many lawmakers on the Republican side are QAnoners versus how many people on the left are neo-Marxists or whatever? There's nobody. It's not even close. There's not even close.
I mean, look, I know you're just exaggerating by saying.
I'm not exaggerating. Wait, how am I exaggerating?
You're thinking 99% of Republicans think that it was stolen versus only 1% of the liberals.
Well, hold
on the Democrat
For the
side?
Republicans that think the last election was stolen, that number, the last I saw, was 80% think that the 2020 election was rigged, was like the actual votes were stolen. Yes. Nothing is equivalent on the left to that. It's not even close. The right is out of control, and they are completely divorced from reality. It's insane.
So you're saying that there can't be really any side of like middle ground?
No, not with these people. No.
Do you think that it's just going to become more polarized, and we're not going to we're going to be divided as a nation? Is that kind of like your
Um,
outlook for America?
until somebody can rein in the right, and I think a lot of that has to do with the left being more aggressive. Yes, right now yeah, it'll just continue to get worse and worse. The right can basically take advantage of all of the left's achievements while shitting on the left the entire time, not realizing that like they wouldn't even be able to exist without the left leading things in this country. Like, yeah.
So do you think are you saying that over half the country is essentially delusional for voting for the Republican side for not only the Senate, the House, as well as the presidency?
I would say that most people aren't as plugged in, and they just see that like price high, bad, and they vote for the other side. But for the majority of the people that do support the Republicans, yes, there is no reasonable person that could support Trump. There is no like and know everything about him or know like half the stuff about him. That's why I haven't ran into a single one that's been able to do it. And if you find any, and if any of them see this interview, or whatever, want to argue, I will argue with any large figure conservative, every single one of them. Nobody can provide a good defense of any of the things that Trump has done. It's not possible. It is
Then
impossible
doesn't that
to
go
do.
against like what you consider to be a centrist? If you
I'm not. You're more hung up on this centrist term than I am. I don't even call myself a centrist. No. You said
independent. You said independent.
No. I just said that I don't start from a place of political like allegiance. I start from like these are the things that I care about. These are my values. Right now, I align majority with the Democratic Party, but I don't go around saying like, oh, I'm a centrist. I describe myself as like center left, far left, depending upon the platform I'm on.
Sure. Really, and you said that it will change depending on what the party's values is at the time, right?
Sure.
So in that instance, like, can't you see that party values changes all the time and your values should probably stay like consistent? So in that instance, can't anyone become like a centrist because their values will look different based on historical context, what the party believes at that time, and what they feel like to be most aligned with like their values?
Yeah, I mean, if the Republican Party's entire platform changed, I could change my party alignment. That's possible, but that's not happening, so I don't know.
Got you. Well, yeah, I think this is all already like over time, but is there any like kind of like last message that you want to say to, I guess, like my audience or for this video? I know we kind of got like a little bit sidetracked, but it was nice talking with you, man.
Yeah, I wish people would look at the actual facts of things that have happened rather than just like listening to things that Joe Rogan or other conservatives are just like telling you. Like, go and read the actual documents, go and look at what's actually happening. Don't just believe things that Trump or these other people are saying. They've all been proved to be lying to you. They are all lying to you. Elon Musk lied to you when he said he was going to give away $1 million at random to people, basically for signing to vote. That wasn't true. He's giving it away to people that they're choosing to be spokespeople for their America PAC. Donald Trump, lied to you over all the voter fraud stuff. He knows he was lying to you. It's in indictments. He's literally laughing at Sidney Powell saying, like, I think she's from Star Trek when he has the phone muted. Fox News lied to you over the Dominion stuff. They knew they were lying to you the entire time. Rudy Giuliani and Sidney Powell lied to you in their court cases. They knew they were lying the entire time. Look at any of the actual hearings where they've all been fucking disbarred now and losing their legal licenses because the affidavits they submitted were ridiculous. The My Pillow CEO guy, like every single one of these people is lying to you, and they're taking their lies right to the bank and they're cashing out for these huge checks. And you guys are supporting and defending them, and it's not you necessarily, but you in the general sense, like the conservatives are just supporting them. And that's just crazy to me. But I mean, like, if you want to be, I guess, like used by these people to make a ton of money, I mean, then good luck buying all your Trump trading cards and gold shoes and whatever else he's selling to personally enrich himself.
Do you have the impression that I'm like a Trump, like huge Trump supporter or something?
No, not you. I'm sorry. When I'm saying you here, I mean you in the general sense, not like you personally. Yeah, sorry.
Got you.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. One last question. Do you feel like young men are going to continue to become more conservative, or do you see a hopeful future, at least in your lens, of young men becoming more liberal again?
It depends on if the left can figure out how to chat with them without coming off as insanely soy and like over pandering to just women. I mean, it's on the left to figure that out. So yeah.
Fair enough. I'm actually curious. I know we're done with that, but what made you jump on this debate, man? I don't know if you ever like seen like any of my stuff or not, but
I haven't at all. You shot me an email, and I think I was like, yeah, fuck it, why not?
Got you. You're in.
Originally it seemed like you guys were in LA, and I had another show going on in LA, and then
okay.
I thought about maybe, and I was like, yeah, fuck it, why not? Yeah, sure. So yeah.
Got you. You're based in Miami, right?
Right now, yeah, Miami Beach. Yeah.
Got you. Actually, let me ask if you still have time, chat. Do you guys have any specific questions you guys want me to ask for Destiny? Someone just asked, is Destiny the Nick Fuentes of the left? How would you respond to that?
Probably not, because I'm not gay.
I'm sorry?
Probably not, because I'm not gay.
He's gay?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see. Oh yeah, in your eyes, why is Kamala a better pick?
The Democrats just have a more cohesive platform in terms of governing the country. Like they understand economic policy better, they're effective leaders, and that they can get legislation passed in Congress. I think that the foreign policy overall direction is healthier. I think the macro view of America as being like a large part of the world, I think is better. Yeah, the macro ideas about what America is and what America stands for, and then the micro ideas in terms of policy, I think is just better. Like Trump was just a wholly ineffective leader. Even if you like the things that Trump wants to do, he sucked at getting any of it done. So,
Would you be willing to admit if, like, let's say Trump absolutely changes America in 2024, in this next term, that he's actually a good president, or would the past events in your eyes always cloud that judgment?
I mean, I'm always going to rate somebody on the whole, but the problem is that like Trump, the next 4 years are going to be pretty good for America. Like I think Biden has set us up very well, but now all of these like Trump dick sucks that were saying things like the GDP doesn't matter, that doesn't capture my life, or the stock market only matters for billionaires. All these same dipshits are going to be spamming all-time highs on the stock market because of Donald Trump. Oh, look at the GDP growth, blah blah blah. All these same people who are like, why aren't the prices falling? I don't understand what the rate of change is. I don't know what that means when we say that inflation. Are all going to be saying like prices haven't changed at all. Like actually year-over-year inflation is actually so good, and I don't actually care if the prices fall, right? So it's it's like the economy is probably going to do pretty well for the next 4 years. We're coming out of, again, another economic catastrophe that happened under a conservative. And as things go well, Trump's going to want to take credit for all of it. And then people are going to come back to me and they're going to go, well, look, once you admit at least that the economy ran well under Donald Trump, and I'll be like, yeah, I guess. But I mean, of course, it was always going to, as long as he doesn't fuck things up from where Biden left it. Yeah.
What rhetoric do you think will be best for rebuilding the Democratic Party?
Harsh, brutal, savage rhetoric. Okay, they need to stop letting these conservatives like squirm away scot-free on all the crazy, unhinged, un-American, treasonous, disgusting shit that they do. There needs to be more call-outs for it instead of this like obsession with hand-wringing on the left. Again, look at how fucking cringe. Like compare the loss of Kamala. Every single left-leaning media person, mainstream alternative was like, what are we gonna do next time? We need to seriously self-reflect. And I don't know. And then on the right, when they lost in 2020, they were like, lost? Excuse me. One, that was fucking rigged by the deep state. We didn't even lose that election. And two, fuck Pence. Okay, Trump tried to kill him. It didn't. We're going to run the same fucking guy against the same guy he just lost to with a different vice president because fuck it, right? There was no self-reflection. Like, conservatives are shameless. And I think that liberals need to adopt a little bit of that aggressive rhetoric, a little bit of the more on the attack and less like, oh my God, like conservatives are right. Like maybe we do need to turn down the knob on the hurricane machine, sending storms to Florida. Like that, they just need to be more aggressive, I think. But yeah, we'll figure it out.
Is that kind of like what's informing your style of like debating? Like, is that something that you're trying to take on personally?
A little bit now, yeah. I'm definitely going to be more aggressive and make Trump squirm a little bit and try to answer actual questions instead of just, not answering anything. Yeah, that's my goal. But
fair enough. What do you like most about debating? I think you're a very good debater, even if I disagree with you sometimes. I think you're willing to talk to people, but at times I feel like you sometimes refuse to concede on points. What do you feel like makes an effective debater, and how do you respond to that?
I mean, it super depends. It's like, I had this in my head once. It's what is it? It's people, place, platform. There were like 3 P's in my head. Like how you debate with somebody, it depends on the audience that you're talking to. It depends on the area that you're speaking on, and then it depends on the policy that you're actually discussing. So like the way that I would talk to a family member about like an economic issue versus a social issue, and then are we talking on Thanksgiving or like all of these things are variable. So like what makes a good person a debater? It's like saying what makes a person a good person. Like it's hard to give a specific answer to that because like
what
in some ways
like, oh wow, like this guy like is kind of like a match, or like, oh wow, like this guy
like basically like, can you adapt to the given scenario, put yourself in the mind of your interlocutor and make arguments that he would find compelling or convincing based on the topic, I think is
What do you think about the celebrity endorsements this particular election? I think it kind of like showed that people don't really care about it as much anymore. What do you think about it?
I don't know if they ever meant that much. People care about them when they're for their side. They don't care about them when they're on the other side. Yeah.
Do you feel like this election is a win for independent media? Take the figures that you don't like Joe Rogan, everybody else out of it. Do you feel like this showed a lot more of the legitimacy of podcast live streaming, and that's going to be like a strategy going forward for the presidential candidates?
It might be, yeah. Yeah, independent media is awesome. You can basically get you make more money than people in mainstream media, and you can lie way more than them with no accountability. So why would you not work on like an alternative media? It's fucking awesome. Why would I be some loser who gets paid $150,000 to be a news anchor when I could get paid $1.5 million to just fucking lie to my audience over and over again and then scam them with NFTs and crypto and walk away scot free for it?
So
right?
you're above that, right? You don't lie or anything like that, right?
Nope. I publish all my notes online. I am open to debating anybody on the world if they have like a particular platform. Like, there's a difference. There's a reason why, like I'll tell Crowder or Shapiro or Poole that I will argue with them on any of these issues that I care about at literally any point in time on any platform, and they will cower in fear in their corners and not argue with anybody or defend their points against anybody. It's because they know they're lying. There's a reason why when I was debating Owen Schroyer on stage and he was talking about who the first people breaking into the Capitol were, I was willing to bet him $5,000 on the spot, and he shut the fuck up immediately about it because he knows that he's fucking lying. All these people know that they're lying. Trump knows that he's lying. Ben Shapiro knows that he's lying. All these people are knowingly telling lies and making money off the dipshits that eat it up. There's a reason for that, yeah. And I think I am different there. You can go to destiny.gg/notes and you can see all the notes that I publish on all the shit that I do. Like, we're reading through all of the Federalist Papers now because I think it's good to have an understanding of like where the country was founded and where we came from before we completely destroyed it all under Trump. So yeah, I mean, people don't like it, they compare me to any other figure and hold me up to him, and we can have those arguments. Yeah.
You said un-American a couple times. How would you define as American values, and what would you consider to be foundationally American?
Foundationally American would be things like respect for the Constitution and the ideas set forth from the Constitution. So things like rule of law, like the structure of government, appreciation of checks and balances, the ability to live with people in the country who have different views than you, not like different views insofar as like you want to violate criminal statutes, but like different views or different perspectives on things you might pass different laws on. Yeah, I think that these are like things like, I guess for Trump specifically, things like the peaceful transfer of power, things like not lying in open court, things like not committing crimes. I would say that these are like pretty core parts to the American identity.
I know. Sorry, I keep going on. This chat's giving me some good questions. One person, thank you, Anim's on demand for the dono. He said, "So can any presidential elect ever run an economic strategy if all credit always goes to the previous administration, whether it's bad or good?"
So can any presidential elect ever run an economic? I mean, it depends. In an intelligent environment, we would be evaluating people based on their economic policy. So I think that the economic policy in the Biden admin, I think, was generally pretty good. They did a lot of stimulus when it was needed. They passed the legislation to encourage domestic reinvestment, like infrastructure or like the CHIPS Act. Like these I think, are things that are generally good. When I look at the Trump administration, all Trump did, he did massive tax cuts, which weren't paired with any budget cuts. So he just did tons of deficit spending in a time when the economy was already running really hot. These are when you should be having budget surpluses. These are when you should be able to cut down on spending because the economy is running hot anyway, and you should be able to scrape a little bit more off of the economy because tax receipts are going to be higher. Donald Trump was unable to balance the budget when the economy was running well. Why would I think he can balance the budget when the economy is struggling, right? Donald Trump wasn't able to pass any substantial legislation related to economic reform or boosting the economy. So like, yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's just like when you look at the actual policies, it's like, what are you voting for Trump for? Like,
someone wanted me to ask Destiny if there would ever be a left version of the Daily Wire, and would Gen ever be invited to it?
I don't know. We have to see how you audition for it. So,
is that something? Yeah. What is your aim, man? Like, are you?
I like to have a media company. I'm aiming more and more in that direction. So we'll see.
Got you. So you are trying to kind of create like the left version of the Daily Wire.
Yeah, maybe without all the partisan hackery, but
how do you maintain that, especially when you're going to start cultivating even more of a biased audience, right?
Well, as the CEO and leader, it would be my vision from the top down. So,
do you think a lot of people on the right would join if you do something like that?
Right now, there's nobody on the right that I would consider as part of my platform. I think that if you're on the right, you are wholly lost right now to reality, and you have to make your way back. If you're a Trump supporter, at least, there's no sane, rational person that can support Donald Trump. It just doesn't exist right now.
Okay.
Like, keep in mind, even in my debate with Ben Shapiro, when I was being gentle, even Ben himself said that he grades Trump on a curve. So I mean, like, what are you gonna do?
Who is your dream debate guest?
My dream debate guest. I don't know, anybody that's forced to actually debate for a couple hours without being able to squirm away. Any of the large Daily Wire guys, any of the, I don't know, any large media figure, Tim Pool, RFK, Joe Rogan, Donald Trump, fuck it, yeah. Any of these guys would be, yeah.
Okay, one last question. Who do you think is like the smartest voice on the right now? And who do you think is the smartest voice on the left, except for you, of course?
Like I said, it's really hard to find anybody that supports Donald Trump. It's like picking out the smartest flat earther. I truly don't know. I can't even give an answer. I really appreciate Sam Harris because Sam Harris is one of the only people I've seen who actually seems to be somewhat independent minded. Like he's not super partisan for one direction or the other. There are things that I disagree with him on, but he's not like so bought into one side that he has to, pull for them the entire time. So I give a lot of props to Sam Harris.
Yeah, it seems like you really like centrists and independent thinkers.
I do like independent thinkers. I don't like people that call themselves centrists and just suck dick for Trump 24/7. But that's me.
All right, Destiny. Well, thanks for joining, man. I appreciate you hopping on. And I think this should be a cool video, man. It's always nice talking to you.
Thanks a lot. I appreciate it.
All right, man. See you later.
Bye.
Bye. Oh shoot, I totally forgot to tell him to stay on because it's uploading. Shit. God damn it. Hold on. Let me shoot him an email real quick. One sec. But chat, what do you guys think? WRL, do you guys like it? Was that fun? How do you guys think I did? Sorry, I have not been able to like pay attention to chat. I was like making sure I got to ask like the questions that I needed to ask for the video. So that's something I need to like figure out. But what do you guys think? WRL? Okay, W again. W, he destroyed you. I mean, again, it wasn't a debate. L, you didn't push back. I mean, guys, like I want maybe I should have made that clear. This wasn't meant to be a debate in any sense of the word. I was just trying to honestly interview him for like the video. The thing about like I think Destiny, what I noticed is that he just likes the debate. Like you can tell when I was even asking him questions, he was like kind of responding in a way that just like pulls you in. So I think a couple of times I got pulled into that, but again, that's not what I was trying to do. And I felt like I pushed back on him. Like I was trying to like kind of point out what I felt like was some of his logical inconsistencies. Is that he would say that he hates centrists, but then would label him as like an independent, label himself as like an independent. Or I'm like, brother, like you do see that like if you were willing to engage with other people, if you're willing to look at each party at that given time and see what values align with you, like you're probably more of a centrist than you think. So I just think he just hates that like word. And I think he agreed with me, but I think he just wanted to kind of like disagree. Okay, just give me a sec. I'm just gonna but yeah, chat, what do you guys think? What could I have like done better? The problem is most centrists are closer right wingers. Yeah, I think in a way that's true. I think that in a way that's true. At least in the current state of things. Great talk. Again, did he change your mind on anything? I mean, again, it wasn't really a debate, so not really. You did okay and took the L well. Maybe just push back, guys. It wasn't an L. Like I wasn't trying to win a debate. Like I wanted to make that like abundantly clear. I'm not trying to win a debate. I'm just here to talk about it. To talk about like for the video. I'm literally just trying to ask him the question. I literally have some, but I think at times I was getting pulled. You got bodied, bro. Again, coping the loss, bro. It's all right. Okay. I'm not coping. No L's good combo. Sorry about that, L. Okay, now you guys are just trolling. Yeah, you guys are just trolling. Well, cool, guys. Let me know if you guys want me to do more about this. Like I said, for this video, I'm also trying to get in a conversation with Brett Cooper. So again, right, I know he shits on centrists, but I do like talking to people from both sides, and especially for this video, because there is a very interesting trend that's going on. Next time, debate him, so we'll see if he can change your mind. Speaks with a lot of facts, to be honest. Respect. It was a good talk. Let's see, but you definitely seem too dismissive of his points on the delusion of the right. Okay, that's fair. That's actually very fair criticism. Brett Cooper not gonna sleep with. That's not what. Yeah, guys. Who else would you guys want me to talk to for this video? Give me a few names. Maybe I might just do only Destiny and Brett to kind of just like have them be the voices for why people are leaning more to the why young men are becoming more conservative, why young women are becoming more liberal. No, Hassan. Yeah, see, that's also another distinction I want to make with like, let's say Hassan versus like Destiny. Is like what I respect about Destiny, and again, like this is also what I told him too, is that I think sometimes he just debates just to debate, but he is always willing to talk to people who he disagrees with. So do more in practice. Yeah, guys. Any other feedback? Like I really like some of the feedback that you guys are giving me. Yeah, guys. Also, any editors in here? You guys should clip this shit. I think there's a lot of clippable moments in this conversation. Also, how was it? What was the chat like? I was not able to like really take like a close attention to it. Get more thought-provoking questions. Live chat with YouTuber uneducated economist. Okay, well, thank you for that dono, by the way. And also, guys, I'm so sorry for those who were giving donos and I wasn't able to shout that out. That's on me. That this is something I still need to figure out, is how best I can kind of balance asking the questions for the video and then also still engaging with you guys, because it's obviously like a live stream. Do more freaky questions. Also, I'm actually curious. Are there any Destiny fans that ended up joining the stream? I thought he was going to be streaming, so wasn't sure. Talk to Richard Reed. I have talked to Richard Reeves. He would be a good person for this video, but maybe I might try and get some other collabs in here. Yeah, we hear. Okay, cool. Well, welcome. Destiny fan here. Cool. I mean, guys, this is also what I wanted from the chat, is people also joining from Destiny side too. So guys, yeah, if you're a Destiny fan, check out my videos. You guys can back up his claim whether or not I'm actually a centrist or not, or I'm just a grifter. I'm a Destiny fan, but I unsubbed after he destroyed you. Okay. Again, not a debate. No, guys, I was not going to ask about personal shit. I don't care about that. I don't care what he does on a personal basis. What is your critique of the right, honestly? Critique of the right, I say... Yeah, I mean, I think it's the same pitfalls as like the left, man. It's just like so like tribal, where, I look, if you guys want some like proof, check out my Twitter. Like here, I'll give you some proof of like what I'm talking about. Is I think like, for example, Lives of TikTok. I think that's like a horrible like demonstration of like the right. Like what she does is like she's talked about so many like different instances where she's against cancel culture, where she's against doxing. But then I don't know if you guys have seen her like Twitter, but all she does is like dox like local businesses. So of course it is like a little bit different and it's a gray area, because obviously these are public businesses with websites listed on Google Maps on their websites. But trying to ruin people's like livelihood just because they have a different political opinion, like I don't think I just think it's extremely hypocritical of like the things that she critiques. So that's like one example. Another one here, I'm just trying to figure out how I can share my screen. It's a little bit difficult. One sec. Yeah, like I just like, look, this is like a critique that I made. Like, this is fucking weird, right? Like, the DNC has forced Kamala's twinks on a humiliation tour across America as punishment for losing the straight white male vote by 30 points. Like, this is weird. Can you guys see my screen, by the way? Yeah, this is so weird to me. Like, what are you doing? Like, you literally took the time to like Photoshop this. Like, and okay, someone said like, oh no, it's probably AI. Okay, so you went through like different prompts to make like the perfect image of something like this. Like, this is so weird, right? Like, I think this is more weird to take the time and effort to Photoshop. So that's where I think have like the massive disagreement with like Destiny. He makes it kind of seem like the right is the only one engaging in crazy things, but that's just simply are not true. I mean, yes, like this is an example of it, but what I'm trying to say is that the same pitfalls of like the left doing crazy weird shit like this, I think the right is doing. So yeah, I don't know. I think that's what I was trying to like make clear is that like, look, it's not just like one side, bro. But I guess I'm a grifter then. Honestly, you have more viewers on DGG than here. 1K on DGG and 900 on here is a good interview, but you should be less dismissive of what Destiny has to say. Oftentimes fall like that. Okay, that's fair enough. I think that's also like this is not a cope, but like what I'm trying to say is that I think that's kind of like what makes him a great debater or so entertaining to debate with is that he just like pulls you in. Like things that he says, I'm like, wait, hold on. Let me like debate that. So again, I wasn't trying to like treat it like that, but I think that's what it got into. Give an example of libs of TikTok on the left. Okay, so yeah, look, I can't think of like a major account, but there's absolutely accounts on the left that is complete. Okay, wait, there's this like one guy. There's like this one guy. All he does is just like cancel and like dox people. It was like this kind of like Latino looking guy. I don't remember his name. I don't know if you guys can like find it for me, but I based on what I saw, it was like this guy. Yeah, Hasanabi too is also kind of a good example. There was like this one guy. All he does is kind of just like finds people's information where they work at after like saying like a racist rant or something and tries to get them like fired from like their jobs. So there's absolutely, guys, people like that. And I think that's what I wanted to make clear in this conversation is that no, just because you're a Trump supporter doesn't make you just like this list of things. It's not just like the right that's like engaging in crazy things. I think that's what I wanted to try and defend. And I think that's probably why it seemed like I was trying to be dismissive of his points. I guess I was just trying to like present the aspect that like, look, it's not just the right that's doing this, Destiny. I think if you want to look at facts, if you're an independent thinker, I think in good faith, you can't just say that the right is the only one that's engaging in lies. The right is the only one that's spreading misinformation. That's clearly not true. I don't know, guys. Does that make sense? This is also, guys, I do want to say, based on what I'm seeing, I think a couple of the Destiny fans are still here. And then also, you know, there is definitely left-leaning people in my audience. It's cool to see this chat because it's definitely like conflicting right now. And I think this is exactly what I want. You're coping hard. Okay. It's just not to the same extent. Both sides are crazy. Yeah, seriously. I think, okay, I will give you this. I think if you're on Twitter, you'll definitely see even like a lot more of the right engaging in crazy things. Because yeah, let's be real here. I think X at this point is like definitely a lot more of a right-leaning platform. So I do think you start seeing similar figures on the right doing what I would criticize the left for doing too. You keep saying both sides, but have no evidence for left, only right. I don't know. I feel like I gave some concrete evidence there. There we go. Both sides are the same. Can you grift more? Look, if I wanted to grift, being both sides is probably the worst way to do it. Right? There's a reason why there's a Daily Wire of the right. There's a reason why Destiny wants to create a Daily Wire of the left. If I wanted to grift, the worst way to do that is by being for both sides. One, because both liberals think that I'm too conservative and conservatives think that I'm too liberal. Do you know how much harder it is to build an audience when on a given topic, people may like disagree with you? It's a lot easier. There's a reason why, for example, Fox News, right, has the audience that they do is because they have to continually grift for their audience. It's the same thing for CNN. It's the same thing for MSNBC. There's a reason why there isn't like some both sides unbiased news source. Is because audiences don't work like that, right? I mean, let's look at the chat right now. If you're a Destiny supporter, if you're, I guess more for me, right? You already have your own biases, and oftentimes you just want to be confirmed in that. The last thing you want is to be challenged on your beliefs. So, does that make sense? You call it a debate? The fuck? No, I didn't. I never said that. Do you realize this both siding is actually granting more charitability to one side? What do you mean by that? Oh, I want to understand. Yeah, and I think, guys, I think that's also the point that I want to make with this channel is I think most people are quite centrist. And, you know, he even said so himself. Good talk. As a Destiny fan, he had to change his demeanor recently when talking to mad conservatives and is a bit black pill, but overall, he just wants some actual accountability on the right. Cheers. Hey, thank you so much. I appreciate you joining the live stream. Hopefully, you check out the videos too. Yeah, hopefully, we might have some more conversations in the future. That's why these guys say you're coping. They can't get out of their political bubble. That's exactly right. Guys, I want to make this abundantly clear. The worst way to grift is being for both sides. Trust me. You guys even just saw it himself. That, you know, like Destiny saying that I'm part of the problem. I'm going to get that from both sides. It's literally the worst way to grift. Trust me. Yeah. Yeah, I think Destiny is a very interesting person. And he clearly does like his research, right? Again, it wasn't any sort of like debate or anything, but it's fun talking to people who I may personally disagree with. It's a lot of fun. Lex Freeman, worst way to grift, by the way. Yeah, guys, also same, but also, right? It's absolutely possible too. For example, Joe Rogan, I think, is quite a centrist, right? He was willing to have Kamala on. The only reason why he declined is because she was making ridiculous demands, right? That's like she was saying that he needs to fly to him. They need to have editorial control. The conversation can only be an hour. Like, there's not many people who is willing to engage with their platform with both sides. I'm so disappointed in you right now. I didn't realize you were a midwit. Well, okay, cool. Thank you guys for joining. I really appreciate you. Whether you disagree with me or not, that's fine. All I'm trying to do here is talk to people, whether I agree with them or disagree with them. I think it's important. And ultimately, guys, this wasn't a debate. I wasn't trying to be. I just wanted to understand where he's coming from and gather some answers and questions for this video that I'm making. But I think you guys showed out. I definitely want to do more of this. Right now, I'm going to try and get Brett Cooper on for something like this. Hey, thank you for the dono, Justin. Type some W's if you guys enjoyed it. Type some L's if you hated it. That's okay. But especially for the Destiny viewers, I hope you guys actually check out the videos because we make fucking phenomenal content. We make one of the best content in YouTube. So check it out. If you have a problem with me, that's okay. Check out the videos, and then maybe you can come back and see if I'm full of shit or not. But thank you guys for joining. Let me know if you guys want me to do more of this. Also, one thing, mods, can you put my Instagram as well as Twitter as well as my newsletter? When is your next stream? I'll let you know. I'll probably do another one this week. I'm going to try and lock down that live stream with Brett Cooper sometime this week because I'll be going down to the border this weekend. Mods, please spam my Instagram, Twitter, and my newsletter. So you guys can follow me, and in Twitter and Instagram, I'll be sharing more of my opinions. Again, you tagged the wrong account on Twitter, by the way. Yeah, I did. I fucked up. Follow me on X. Mods, I don't know what the fuck you guys are doing, but fucking plug my shit. And if you guys want, I highly recommend for you guys to sign up for my newsletter, man. It's free. Takes like 2 seconds to do so. Bro, where are these mods? Mods, what the fuck are you guys doing? It's like every time. Yeah, seriously, guys. L's in the chat for the mods. Every goddamn time I'm asking for like plugging something, they don't do mods. What the fuck are you guys doing? Ban the mods. It's absolutely ridiculous. The fuck are you guys doing, man? like, guys, how many times I'm like literally trying to buy time here at this point. Deport the mods, honestly. Guys, can Destiny fans, can my fans, can we all just shit on the mods at this point? The fuck are you guys doing? All right, guys, can someone, oh my God, what are we doing here? It's a drag to do it on mobile. Shut up. What's your fucking, do it. All right, let me see here. Let me do this manually myself. Cause fuck. Follow my Instagram. Chat, can we all shit on the mods right now? What the fuck? It's all phony. Shut up. Fucking plug my shit. You fuck. Follow my ex. Look at this. I'm doing this shit manually. What the fuck? There is no both sides to this. Fuck you guys doing? Do mods get paid? No. They don't. So I guess, what am I saying? Mods! Your Destiny's mod? Oh, so yeah, I guess if the mods do their job, if you can plug the Discord. I'm trying to leave here so I can like get to what I need to do today, but I can't because I'm trying to do everything myself. Fucking hell. I don't know. I'm kind of a centrist on the mod issue. All right, bro. Let's see here. Okay, fucking mods finally did, and they just sent like 2 of my links. Join the Discord too. Oh, thank you, Oddity. Are you awake from your fucking nap? God damn. Follow my newsletter. Follow my Twitter. No, I don't give a fuck about the mod side of the history. I don't give a shit about the mod. No. When it comes to the team, it's a dictatorship. Fuck a democracy. Fuck hearing both. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. No, thank you, mods. But mods, please start spamming this. And also, chat, if you're seeing these links, fucking go follow. Fucking go follow. Wow. Clippers are super quick, man. I'm seeing it on Twitter now. If you look at the historical context of the mods, I have spammed the most links. Okay, fair enough. Chat, W on the mods. W on the mods. You need a mod that has a PC. These kids on phones can't. Yeah. Chat, join the Discord. If you can actually be a reliable mod, then join that Discord group and send me a DM. Because Oddity is being a little smart ass little fuck. So okay. I'm yapping at this point. Thanks for joining, guys. We'll talk soon. Mods, please. Okay, actually, I'm not gonna leave until fucking Oddity does one more. I'll become a mod just to post links to other content creators. Thank you. That's very helpful. That's very helpful. All right, guys. Well, all right. Wait. Hold on. I'm gonna wait for him to post my links. Twitter. We can't finish the edge session like this. You gave Oddity the power. Dude, what is Oddity honestly doing? Like, what is going on? Is bro like typing in every letter like individually? What the hell is up with this guy, man? Bro, you literally didn't even post the right link. Bro, Oddity, you're literally spamming a link that doesn't work. Unbelievable. I have to do everything by myself, man. Holy shit. Bro really posted the same Twitter and Instagram link. All right. I'm done shitting on Oddity, man. It's all just for good fun. But thank you guys for joining, and I'll see you guys soon. Peace.